For almost a year now, I've been using the camera that I'm actually filming this on, the Sony FDR AX33, as my primary camera. But with the holiday season and whatnot, I saw a deal on this camera bundled up with a microphone, and I thought I'd go ahead and give it a shot. This is the Panasonic DMC G7K, and it came with an Audio-Technica AT8024 microphone, which I'll be looking at separately. But today I thought we'd go ahead and just take a quick look at this camera. This is sort of like a DSLR if you're not familiar with the whole setup. It's a micro four thirds camera, as it mentions right here, so it has a slightly different size sensor than most of the DSLRs you'd be looking at. This one is capable of 4K video, and it did come bundled with a lens, the LUMIX G Vario 14-42 f3.5 to 5.6 aperture lens, meaning it's a kit lens, so it's not going to be absolutely amazing, but for getting started, it might be worth a shot. And the reason I went for all of this is the whole bundle, this with the microphone, was $600. So I thought it was worth a shot. Taking a quick look here, we can see some of the specs of it. It is a 16 megapixel digital camera, capable of full HD 1080p video, but also, as we said earlier, 4K video. Can do 8 FPS burst mode. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of photography with this, but I figured I would just mention it. Can do panorama shots. Supposedly does really well in low light. Built-in flash, external mic jack. Does not have a headphone jack. This is basically the little brother to the Panasonic GH4, which everyone has just ranted and raved over the last year. So for $600, I thought this was definitely worth a shot. But inside of the pack, you're going to see lots and lots of documentation, getting started DVD, applications, warranty. I honestly don't even know if I'll ever even open this. But down in the main compartment of the box, here we've got the camera body. We have a strap. Again, not sure if I'll ever end up using it, but it is there in case you need it. This would appear to be our included kit lens and miscellaneous accessories. We have the battery charger, the battery, as well as a USB cable with what appears to be a proprietary plug, but I'm not 100% certain on that. The battery included is model number DMW-BLC12PP. It is a 1200 milliamp hour, 7.2 volt battery, 8.7 watt hour lithium ion battery. There's our included charger, Panasonic DEA79 battery charger. Has just this flip out plug, so you stick it into the wall, stick the battery in there, and you're good to charge. Here's our lens, which is actually a little bit smaller than I kind of anticipated it would be. Not that that's a bad thing. 14-42 there. Here's your zoom ring. As you can see, it kind of moves it there. Here's your focus ring. It says HD on there. I know the lens is not what makes it HD, but thought I would mention that. And there's your focusing distance. Go ahead and pop this end off of here. Pop the other end off. This is the lens cap. There you go. The front of it says LUMIX G Vario 3.5 to 5.6 aperture, a spherical lens, Mega OIS. So this camera does not have image stabilization built into the body. It actually has to be built into the lenses. And this one does not have any sort of switches or anything to put it into all-time manual focus mode or to turn on and off that OIS, so it is going to be a full-time thing. There's another little pouch that was included with the lens, and that would be the lens hood. So in case you want to avoid any sort of shadows or try to just make the shot look a little bit better, you have that lens, the sort of flower petal lens, to make it look a little better. And finally, the key, the most important part of all of this, the camera body itself. I did end up going with the silver variant, just a personal preference there. Here's your little Panasonic L for LUMIX. The body cap should come off just by twisting and pulling. Then we can go ahead, line up the red dots here, put it on, give it a little twist, and we should be good to go, other than needing to put the battery in. Here on the top, you'll see a ridiculous number of dials and switches. If you don't know what these things do, don't be worried. Here on this side, this would be the type of things you're going to be capturing, either single frame, continuous, 4K modes, timers, all those sorts of things. Over on this side, you have program mode, aperture priority, shutter priority, manual, movie mode, custom modes, scene modes, all sorts of different modes to use. Probably going to spend the majority of my time in this movie mode. Here's your on-off switch, function button, video record button, my favorite, twirly knobs, all sorts of things. These can actually be reprogrammed if I've read correctly. Here on the back, you have a playback button, more function buttons, ways to change your different focus modes, manual focus versus auto, display button, lots more function buttons, ISO sensitivity settings, white balance, more function buttons. All in all, lots and lots of buttons here. Here's your flash pop-up button, and it is not anything that actually has to be the camera powered on to use. It's a physical button, so just push that and it pops up. There's the included flash in case you do choose to use that. If you want to take the lens back off, by the way, push this button, give it a little twist. Lens comes right off. You can line it back up again, put it back on and twist until it clicks and you're good. One of the other things I really liked about this camera is it does have a flip out tilt and swivel screen. So you just flip it out, you can turn it around to a certain degree and you should be able to, about halfway that way. And it does mention here on the back again, 4K capable, micro four thirds, as well as Wi-Fi. So if you wanted to control it with a phone, you should be able to do that. But most of the time when you're just shooting pictures and whatnot, You can keep it like this. If you want to do video, which is what I'm going to be doing a lot of, or selfies, flip it out like that. You've got your lens facing you at this point, as well as the screen, so you can see what's going on with it, get everything framed up, and either take your shot or start your video right here. Over on this side, it looks like we've got an HDMI port, as well as the remote connector and AV output if you wanted to use that proprietary cable to go to USB. Over on the other side, there's this little teeny port right here where you can hook the microphone up. I'll definitely be doing that. You have a hot shoe on top, which you can just pull this little thing out of, if I can figure that out. There we go. Had to actually put the flash up in order to get that to come out the first time, but now I can actually use this as a hot shoe if I want to, or I can just stick a microphone in there and use it as a cold shoe and then plug into the mic jack, which is what I'll be doing. Go ahead and put this back in for the moment. And just to get things started, let's go ahead and open this up. We'll put a battery in. All right, I've gone ahead and pulled out my 64 gig, 94 megabytes per second card. We'll see if we can fit it down here in the slot. Has to face forward like that. Pop it in there. That is one of the real downsides to this, as far as I've been able to see so far, is that if you have this on a tripod, so your tripod mount would go here, probably be about that size, hopefully not any larger than that, because to get into the SD card, you have to actually pop this open all the way to get to that SD card again. So you're gonna have to take it off of your tripod every single time you wanna get the footage off, unless you have a teeny tiny tripod mount. Might be able to work that out. But anyway, let's go ahead, power this thing on, see what everything looks like. There we go, it says please set the language. So hit this button. We're gonna pick English as our language. It says please set the clock. All right, the clock setting has been completed. Set the home area. That looks about right. And it looks like we are done. So let's go ahead and take the lens cap off. And we're able to see other things going on in the room. Just to make it a little bit easier, we can pop this out, flip it around. There you go. Now you can actually see the rest of my room and what's going on over there. And in theory, if I go ahead and hit this button, now you can see the record light is on. Battery is not quite fully charged, but that's okay. We are actually able to record and move it around. And it looks like everything's working. It looks like I had to actually push the button to get it to refocus, but let's just see. Maybe not. Yeah, I can kind of force it to refocus by pressing the button, but then when it goes back, yeah, it just kind of refocuses elsewhere on its own. It just doesn't like to focus super close on its own. You can see right there, look, that's me, hello. Hello there. So we are actually recording with the camera, recording myself. But anyway, I'm very, very new to this, so I'm going to continue experimenting with it. Let's take a quick look in the menus. Here's the display button. Turns on and off some of the things you would see on the camera at the time. There's some of the actual stuff you might want to interact with. And it is a touch screen, so you can make changes to this on the fly. Full manual exposure, you can set it to program mode, aperture priority, shutter priority, all in movie mode. You can set the ISO sensitivity over here if you'd prefer to have it be something different, using your little swivel dial and see how it's changing on its own. Very nice. You can do exposure compensation. You can change the way that it autofocuses, AFS or AFF for flexible. We can also do AFC for continuous, which actually is probably what I should have had it on to begin with. It's also STD for different sharpening and color balance, things like that. There's auto white balance, so you can set the white balance to be whatever you'd like it to be, or you can set it, yeah, auto. Here's your dynamic range, so you can change the amount of dynamic range that it has. I'm not going to dive too far into all of these right now. Change your Wi-Fi settings right here. There's some Wi-Fi settings information. Function buttons, and here's what all the function buttons do by default. Lots and lots of them, and they do lots and lots of things. And then of course, if you change the modes, if you go to, for example, S for shutter priority, here's the shutter, you can change it here, or in theory, you can also change it using the front jog wheel there. So you can make changes to it, actually with either one of them, which is very nice. And you can see there that the aperture is actually changing as we zoom in and out, because that's just what it will support. And it has a recommended range there, which is very nice. And you know what, let's just do a couple of quick clips from this, just so we can see what it looks like. Alrighty, we are doing a very quick test with the Panasonic LUMIX G7. I wanted to see how this looks and how this sounds. I literally just have it in program mode, and I hit the record button. I think I set it to AFC, so it should be autofocusing continuously. So in theory, if I move it off of myself onto something else, it may go out of focus. It may focus way over here or something. And then if I move it back, I don't know if it's changing or not. I suppose we're really just gonna have to see how this works. Let's flip it around. We'll see if we can focus on something super duper close. Yeah, that's pretty close. And then in theory, if I flip it around again, is it gonna, hey, it refocused on me. I love this thing immediately. It's great. So I guess we're just gonna have to see how this footage looks. I've got it at the widest right now. This is the 14mm on the 14-42, which means that I can actually reach out to it and do this and zoom in on myself, and it stays in focus, which is really, really nice. That's great. Alrighty, testing. It's very, very dark in here, but this footage actually looks good. I could see myself using this on the go, on the road. It's very dark though. It's probably grainy. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns about this, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below and I'll see what I can do to help out. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to leave a thumbs up below this video if you like this video, subscribe to receive more videos when they become available, and we will see you again in the very near future.